Nathan and Roman, they got the game. Customer success is their claim to fame. On the podcast, they light the spark, elevating your skills, creating a mark. Let's dive deeper into the playbook, the secrets they share. No need to look from onboarding to retention. They've got it all, success is the goal.
All right, welcome to the Customer Success Playbook Podcast. I'm Roman Treblon, and with me always is my co-host, Kevin Metzger. Kev, how you doing today?
Man, I'm doing great. I'm excited about today's guest. I'm excited about Plan Hat and learn more about it. So what do you think?
Well, I'm also excited about these awesome new polo shirts we got, which, again, if you're on our LinkedIn page or our YouTube channel, not only do we got Sam coming on, we got the new gear we're repping as well. So yeah, this will be a great episode. Kev, why don't you introduce our guest and our topic for today?
Yeah, so we've got Sam with us. He's a data scientist who's been in customer success at Gainsight and LinkedIn, and now started a company focused on AI and customer success called DataPlant. I've got to listen to Sam at the Gainsight conference, and I'm really excited to have Sam on the show with us today. Sam, can you maybe give us a little bit more about your background and how you got started with DataPlant?
Well, gentlemen, I'm gonna need one of those shirts. Let's start there. That shirt is rocking.
Oh, there we go. Perfect.
Merch game is popping. Well,
I love it.
Sam Cumming, CEO DataPlant. I just cut my teeth at a time when customer success was in its second wave. Gainsight was founded. There were companies out there like Churn Zero to Tango, etc. But companies were figuring out, how do we build a data-driven practice? And that's what I help companies do. And so I traveled the world. I was head of data science at Gainsight. So I work with companies like DocuSign, Marketo, Ring Central to realize the application of data science in the customer success space. So everything from predictive modeling applied to revenue retention, reducing churn, producing opportunity reports, the whole 9 yards. And I tell you, I learned a lot of gems, and I took those things, then I went and actually became a CSM. And I tell this to anyone who's building something, walk in the shoes of the people you want to serve. And that's what I did with my career. I then went on to LinkedIn to become a CSM. And I tell you, everything I learned as the data guy, I put the practice as an actual CSM. And that gave me a wealth of experience that doubled down on what I had before from a data perspective. And then I went on to go to Indeed to become director of implementation. So I've been in every seat, from an individual contributor, technical person, data science, director. And that gave me such a perspective that I used to build this guy, DataPlant.
There you go.
You got some polo game as well, Sam. I like that polo shirt as well. We're all looking good here.
Go to the website, get the shirts, y'all. Subscribe.
So, Sam, talk to us a little bit about DataPlant. What is DataPlant? What do you do? How are you helping people in the customer success world?
Yeah, and this is really just a part of what's going on now in our time. There's been this premise. The idea and the way customer success teams generally approach is, I'm going to lose business in my long tail. So my smaller accounts and my mid-market accounts. And I'm going to make those gains with my hands-on enterprise accounts. That's the nature of the business. Everyone expects to have higher churn in that segment. That was great when there was money printer season and you could just try to make it to your next round. Now companies are being forced to grapple with that problem. And if they want to really drive their business to the next level, everyone has to solve this scale issue of being able to engage in their smaller segments. And that's what we're born out of. It's solving really one of the biggest problems of our time, digital empathy. As companies are looking at more customers that they're managing per CSM, I think a phenomenal speaker I know as well named Arit, she has a CSM practice. If you all know her, check out her podcast. She had shared some insights when she was speaking at a conference in Israel about how there's just a ton of innovation that's happened. But one of the biggest metrics that shifted over the last decade is the number of accounts per CSM. We've gone from 20 to 30 accounts per CSM to 40 to 60. And now we expect it to get up even higher. And so regardless if it's enterprise, mid-market, or SMB, there's going to be a need to scale like never before. And the problem underneath that hood is when you're one-to-one, you can empathize with your customers because you're talking with them, you're engaged. But when you lose that one-to-one, you become one-to-many, or 1 to a lot, that's where you have a challenge of, can I empathize through these digital channels? And that's what DataPlant is helping companies with. It's not, hey, I can't hire a bunch of CSMs to engage all these people, even if I wanted to. I don't have enough to hire 100 people. So how am I going to allow for the people I have to be great? And that's what DataPlant is doing. We're helping companies synthesize their experience of their clients and create hyper-personalized messaging so they can no longer just be transactional at their segments that are smaller.
I love it. Yeah. So going down that path, what kind of information is it that what kind of data is it that you're gathering in order to try and basically get the information you need to have and create the digital empathy?
Yeah, so I conducted a study. This is kind of going into my role here before we were starting and synthesizing what DataPlant would be. We did a study of and reached out to about 200 COOs, CCOs, and then CROs of like what kind of data do they have. And you'll be surprised. The main data that people are using today is 2 sources. They're using support ticket data, which represents the first wave. The first wave of customer success was all reactive, and it evolved out of going beyond customer support. And then essentially the second wave was product usage. So being able to look at product usage data, whether that's through Google Analytics, Pendo, Mixpanel, all these tools kind of arose during that time when it was about, okay, what are people doing in the platform? So we take those sources as well as your CRM data and any other sources that you might have, marketing, outcome data like renewal history or churn history, and we bring all that data together. So if you have complex data relationships, you have multi-layered hierarchies like regular child accounts that roll up to parent, that roll up to grandparent. We stake our claim in working in complex data scenarios and really synthesizing that into useful insights.
So Sam, I don't need to be a data scientist to consume the output, right? You're going to do all the heavy lifting and get all that data together, and then you're going to help guide me as a CSM. You mentioned 60-to-1 ratio. Oh, I'm getting almost breaking out in hives hearing that, but this output's going to help me be able to scale and touch all these clients that I'm responsible for.
Yes, because this is a revolution happening under between our eyes, right in front of us. The real opportunity is not something that's in a vacuum. We have been on a long arc of innovation from in the beginning when I came out of college. I'm gonna date myself, but I was SAP certified. And back then you had the job with JavaScript code the relationship between objects, code the jobs that do transformations. So if I wanted to convert a lead to an account or a lead to a contact, I had to script that. But then there's this tool or this platform. Some people might know of. There's a little bitty company called Salesforce. That really took the wave when I was graduating. That was the same thing that Salesforce did for technology and ERPs and CRMs. The same thing happened with WordPress for web development and blogs, right? The average person could now do it. You didn't need a developer. And that is what we're doing in this next wave that's happening. Because even now, when you want to use a Salesforce or anything like a game site, there's whole trainings, there's whole certifications, because these systems are sandbox tools, which again, it's better than coding, right? It's better than the JavaScript days, but you still have to be certified in understanding how to make these tools do any one thing. We're in a new age, and DataPlant is leading that age where the professionals themselves will be able to drive their business. So imagine you can just talk to DataPlant and say, give me a report on download performance and put it in a bar chart format. And instead of like writing the SQL, that's where most of the tools are still doing today, even with AI. They'll just write the SQL for you, but you still got to know what to do. Here is, you can just talk to DataPlant and since it auto generates all the possible charts, think of it like a tree with the fruit or the insights, and you're just curating with your voice and what you look at, and passively as you leverage it, this nice curated bush of fruit that can bear fruit in your business.
So can we take that down from an analogy level a little bit deeper into what's actually happening with the data and how you're synthesizing it?
Yeah, so real example, customer we work with called Restaurant 365, 40,000 locations. So they're a point of sale system for restaurants. We're helping them analyze their customer usage data because they have a lot of products. So think about it, you have maybe 4 to 6 products that you might have. Each customer might be in 1 or 3 segments. So they could be an SMB client, a mid-market, and an enterprise. Each of them have different desired outcomes based on who they are and what they need from your platform. And so we're able to analyze that based on what the size of the company. So if it's an SMB client, and then what they bought. So did they buy the operations feature or the accounting feature? And so that tailored marketing of being able to engage them and communicate is what they leverage our tool for. So they can use, their CSMs can reach out to a restaurant and say, compared to all other pizzerias, you are spending 25% more on labor. If you leverage our payroll tool, you can lower that burn and really get a more efficient business and put yourself in the top performers. To do that in any other CS platform is impossible. The nature of the data is just too complex. Do you know how many restaurant types there are? Seafood, pizza. So imagine a rule chain that you would build to really automate that, which again, that's the underpinning of all modern CS software, which is rule building. And so we saw that like that itself was the barrier to unlocking these personalized interactions and these tailored insights. And that's what we did. We moved away from that and really transformed how it works to where now you can, as an individual contributor, as a leader, you don't have to pay the tax that was required before. Before, you had to pay a tax, essentially of building out everything, going and finding out what's working, then defining the playbook and rolling out. We're duty free, baby.
I love that example. And like you said before, it wouldn't have happened. You didn't have the time, you didn't have the resources, you didn't have it all there to say, hey, you know, your labor cost is up and X, Y, I, you know, look at these solutions. So for our audience, if you haven't gone to the website yet, you have to check it out. So you have to go to thedataplant.com. Sam, you already have an amazing set of free tools on there. So I found this, we're getting new year and have you on the show, checking you out. You have these free chat GPT bots on there. I've already sent them to a whole bunch of people. I absolutely love them. They're game changers. How did you guys come up with these? What was the concept behind this? And tell our audience a little bit about what they are and where they can find them.
So this is where we really saw the future coming forward. And I tell you, what's coming next is going to be even more fun. I'll give you a sneak peek. I'm dropping the sneak peeks on this podcast only. So if y'all didn't hear
breaking news,
this is exclusives. So
that's it.
The background. So we saw that the main approach to this has been, we're going to create these all-knowing bots. So if you look at most of the other companies, everyone's got a GPT out there, but their idea is like a chat GPT tool can do all things. What that leads to is they don't do anything well. And so what we saw was what's better suited is have smaller, more targeted modeling tools that solve the top problems. And we went and did some research as well. Big, data guy, surprise. But I researched what were the top use cases of CS teams. And then we looked to build the GPT around each of those. And we really tailored them. And then I know a lot of cheat codes around building GPTs that perform higher. One cheat code I'll give you, 2 of them. If you tell a chat GPT to take a breath, that alone will allow it to be more diligent. I know it's not human. It's not going to literally go breathe, but that'll slow it down and make it think more deliberate. Another trick, if you tell it to proceed without instruction, it will allow it to make more assumptions based on what it knows in its premise that it probably wouldn't have done before because it didn't trust that it would be accurate. And so those are just some of the cheat codes coupled with the learnings that we had over the decade of working in this space. That's why our bots are more powerful. And then we built them into the main core use cases like customer success transitions, big problem, transitioning accounts, being able to do customer success strategy planning. As a leader, how do I plan how I'm going to approach my business? So we targeted these very niche problems. And that's why you see that our free tools are way more high performing. But I'll stop there before I give you guys the cheat codes for the future.
Oh, I'll tell you what. So just our audience knows, you have a success plan bot. It's on there, like you said. It's just that. We had just met with the client first time. Tell us about your business. Put in the transcript. Put it into your success bot plan. Spit out an amazing draft. An amazing success plan that we had within minutes. That would have taken us, before the bot or even trying to do it ourselves, like you said. It would have been iteration. So Sam, you already saved me some time, so I'm all in. I can't wait to hear what's coming next.
Well, this is where sci-fi kicks in. Kevin, let me share your thoughts before I jump into it.
I was going to say, I want to take a guess. Tell me how close I am. You're going to have with the bots, as you build out individual bots, is it that they'll start interacting with each other to basically build out the plans and the functions going forward?
You got it. This is why this man is real. I wouldn't have came to no other podcast but this one. This sci-fi kicks in, gentlemen. let me just take a step back in the concept. There is no rules. This is the wild, wild west. There's no one that can tell you do this, do that, do this, you get that. And this is what this looks like. What we're going to have, and again, there's some challenges with the price and the cost of these bots to be able to make it scalable. So there's going to be some time to this. But the other side of this is you're going to essentially pose goals to a chat room. In that room, there'll be 6 or 7 different GPTs, and they'll all work together. And I've been experimenting with this technology already and working what we're doing with DataPlant. And what we found was crazy stuff. So I put all those bots that we had already in the room to solve a problem. And again, the statistics have shown this over the last 2 or 3 years. The first version of GPT, they had about 80% efficacy across a series of human tasks. The more tailored version that people have been working on lately, up in the maybe 90s. These new community approaches of bringing in multiple GPTs together, 98 efficacy above. Think of it like ants, right? Any visual ant could be smart somewhat, but together they have emergent behavior. That's happening right now. Now, what's crazy, we're putting in different types of GPTs that have no correlation with the other ones. So for example, I put a police bot that does interrogations in there and the performance went up. So what that means is there's no rules in what kind of bots you can combine. You can bring a bot that's a counselor bot and have it talk to the other bots, and it might actually improve their performance. And so that's the world that's going to be brand new here. Is it's not just like I need all my bots to have some similar relationship, meaning be customer success. You can put 6 bots in there that all have a similar relationship and then put a wild card in there and get a 10 times better performance. The game just changed, gentlemen.
It's effectively, you're kind of driving an AI hive mind is really what you're putting together. Is that accurate?
Yeah, think of it like, for those who might not be as, they're like, well, that's so ethereal. Anybody ever played Uno?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah.
Same thing. Each bot puts down its card, so puts down what it thinks. Every other bot knows the history of what's happened, so they can all pick up from each other, edit it, and then drop the next card. So we're all essentially doing it essentially in the bots, and it's getting super fast, speed of light, but they're playing Uno together. And from that, you get this emergent, better game.
Love it. So
Very
Sam,
cool.
you've been, like you said, you've been in customer success for a while. You're in Gainsight, LinkedIn. You've been all around, right? So we talked about AI a little bit. Where do you see, what does customer success look like 5-10 years from now? I mean, what are we looking at? What do you think? You have to get your crystal ball out and dust it off a little bit.
So for those working, and I'll talk to a specific sub audience here because you are going to be the heroes of our future. Customer success operations. Those are the folks that have an opportunity to make sci-fi real. The way we've been thinking about customer success, not going to move the needle. We're going to have to go to a new level. The reason why is the threshold's higher. We're already seeing this in sales and marketing. Cold outreach, dying. Email spamming, not working. Good luck. Even reaching out on LinkedIn cold. Try it. See what happens for you. The issue is that cold outreach type of mindset without personalization doesn't break through. And so that's where the future of this, what I see is these hyper-personalized engagements where, again, I'm reaching out to people in a way that know, from their perspective, they know that that message was tailored for them. If you can't tailor your message in today's age, when everyone's using these chat GPTs and our email inboxes have been blown up for the last 20 years, you are not going to be able to break through the noise. So as CS ops teams, that's the first level of where I see this innovation happening, where they're going to be the creative ones. They're going to become rock stars because they're going to have more ability to touch their clients than anybody else in the business. If I'm a CSM, I might own 20 accounts, 60 accounts, etc. Through digital customer success, these folks are going to impact millions of people. And so the way that the industry goes, if we decide to go further and be a little bit more risk-taking in how we approach this, oh man, we're going to be the real heroes. So that's the first group that I see really benefiting from the innovations today. People that are going to be leaning into digital scale. Now, the other group that I think is really going to be the beneficiary on the broader sense is the medium to low performers. There was a big gap between those that were great at doing their job in CS versus those that weren't, that was really bucketed into the soft skills. Can you take good notes? Can you do good recapping? Can you distill your points into really clear messages? What's your follow-up game like? Those all are now going to be democratized. So the distance between someone being really good on those skill sets and the average person is going to be way shorter. So that's going to allow for all teams to have really a higher performing group across the board. I'm excited for that time. And again, I'll share more as we go forward on some of those unique niches where the opportunity is. But overall, CS Ops is going to have more touch and become more of a hero, and individual contributors are going to be more democratized in their performance.
Yeah, and I think the ops right now is huge. I think that's where you're getting a lot of the gains and allowing the CSM teams to basically expand what they're serving. From We hear a lot about it. It's not those who use AI, or AI is not going to replace humans. It's humans using AI that's going to replace humans not using AI. But I think as we talk about it, the AI is going to allow a human to scale much more, right? So, and ultimately, it's hopefully as humans continue to scale what their outreach is and what they're able to do and how they think, they'll be able to keep up with it, and we'll grow more customers. And by growing more customers, we're going to expand. You're going to grow the pie. And I think that's where there's an advantage. I do think that as CSMs or CS ops folks, you got to start thinking about where you're bringing value. What do you think on that? Like, where do you recommend people start thinking about how to think differently so they're ready for the future that's coming?
Yeah, just throw away everything you've heard. All that stuff that worked in 2012 is not going to work today. You can show up with the same things you were doing then and be walked out of the room. And what I mean by that is the approach to customer success was top down. The idea was we could just figure things. We know what works, and then we're going to make essentially. And the reflex is the system has a rule that says if less than 6 logins, do this. If more than 12, interactions, do that. Like, that was the core idea, top down. The CSM essentially was the meat bag executing on the system's intelligence. Innovation is too fast for that. We saw that in COVID. I tell you, I was in the seat, so I got to see this firsthand. When COVID hit, all these folks had all these rules that all of a sudden broke. If you looked into their cockpits, whatever tool they're in, into where they had these notifications for their teams, they had thousands of upsell records that said this client's ready to upsell. Did everybody all of a sudden ready to upsell their business? No. Since people were indoors, they logged in more. And so that was a perfect example of like the idea of I'm just going to hard code everything and then have it be top down in my business only works when stuff doesn't change. Now, we might not always get a COVID again, something like that transformational. But what is true, products teams are evolving their products faster than ever. So say I change how a feature works. All the rules I built around that now are no longer the same. And so there's just an infinite problem that we're going to deal with regardless, which is the rate of change in our markets. That means we need to switch that premise of top-down CS to now a more agile version. And that's what DataPlant's enabling. Think of it simply put with an analogy here. Before, it was turn-based. We configure everything, we execute that configuration. What DataPlant's switching to is real-time strategy. Since we've removed the duty to pay, the tax, now there's no issue for you to execute. If you on a Monday morning think about, hey, we want to drive improvement of the downloads feature, you can execute on that same day versus having someone go build out all the reporting and then do analysis of what's working, then define the strategy, what we're going to deliver. We're able to deliver that in minutes. So now you as a leader can execute. So what was thought not possible, I can only run one campaign a quarter because it's going to take so much to mobilize. Or I can't run what we call perishable campaigns because, again, certain things are perishable, meaning it's so short in the moment that it wouldn't make sense to automate it. So like, for example, if I have an upcoming webinar this coming week, to put a lot of time to really customize the message around that and build that out for one outreach, the value's not worth the squeeze. But if I can move like this, now I'm able to do that. And that's the big difference here. The value in personalization is in the perishables. That's where you break through. And if you can't leverage that, which you can't today, you're going to miss out on the opportunity to really capture those people's attention and drive outcomes.
Yep.
The speed and the personalization, Sam, that gets me excited. As a client, not even someone who's helping serve clients, but as a client myself, like you said, what What are we doing? Where's there opportunity to meet for me as a client? How do I compare it against others? And it, you said to tailor towards me as my organization. That's real value, right? That's real value. And again, right now it's slow. It's, it takes time. Or you get something and it's like you see a benchmark and it's, I'm one of a segment. It's not me as an individual client. It's like, oh, you're in this segment and here's how you can compare, not me as an individual client. That's a real game changer. I love that.
It's going to be
So
fun.
Kevin, we ready to hit Sam up with the hard hitting questions here?
Yeah, I think it's time.
Let's go.
All right, Sam.
We got some rapid fire stuff for you, Sam. Roman, you want to take it or you want me to?
Well, we get a little back and forth here. Let's see. All right, Sam. All right, buckle up. Early bird or night owl?
Night owl.
Night owl. All right.
Favorite movie?
Oh, I love it. What about the sequels? You a sequel guy too, or just the original?
Oh yeah, the original's great. The sequels are marinate on you. You got to sit into them.
All right. You got a favorite sport that you watch or play?
Boxing.
Boxing. You got a boxer? That's me. That's my. You're speaking my language. You got a favorite boxer?
Yeah. So my favorite boxer now in this current time, Gervonta Davis. Y'all see that fight this weekend?
Unbelievable knockout. The guy always delivers. So yeah, I watched. So unbelievable.
Oh yeah.
All right.
So Roman's in the process of becoming a professional ref.
I'm a judge, professional judge here in Georgia,
sorry.
Sam. So anyway, that's a whole different conversation. So
get in the game. We need you.
that's why I got in the game, Sam. You've seen enough. You're a boxing fan. You've seen enough bad scorecards. There's help needed.
So much politics. Can't wait to see you there.
maybe get a trip over to Saudi Arabia too. Who knows? All right. Book recommendation. Favorite book or book recommendation for our audience?
Smart Brevity.
Smart Brevity. All right.
Priceless book. I think the biggest thing, you can look up the author and all, but why I recommend it is we are in a time when you can communicate pointed, and it's like being on CNN when they have 8 boxes. You got to hit.
Place you'd want to travel to, Sam, you've never been.
Bali.
Nice. All right. And then to close out here, where can our audience find more about you and more about DataPlant?
Check us out on LinkedIn, Samuel J 314. That's my personal LinkedIn. And then DataPlant, you can just look us up on LinkedIn under DATAPLANT. And then I also run a podcast called AI for Diversity. We have 500,000 followers on LinkedIn. You can check us out there.
Awesome. Sam, thanks so much for coming on the show. Love the polo shirt. We'll have to find, you're the first up for our guest shirts that we're going to queue up here soon. So really, really appreciate it. And for our audience, make sure to check out Sam. His stuff's amazing. Definitely check out his website, the DataPlant. Great stuff on there. And for everyone, thanks for listening. You can follow us on LinkedIn at Roman Trebon, at Kevin Metzger. Make sure to check out our customer success playbook page as well on LinkedIn. And Kevin?
Keep on playing.